Hello and welcome to Chart Request Live. It's Tuesday. It's 1:00. We do this every week. We do this twice a week. Pat, should we just rename it the Pat and Steve Show? Because
We got to come up with a good name for it. I actually really like Chart Request Live. It's like a play on that VH1 show. Was it VH1 or MTV?
it was MTV. I remember it well. I'll tell the story. So if you were in elementary or middle school in the late 90s, early 2000s, you would hope that you got off the bus early enough for 2:30 to watch Total Request Live with Carson Daly.
Is that
So,
what the T was? TRL?
yeah, Total Request Live.
Oh, okay.
I corrected you last week because you said Chart Requests Live. It's Chart Request Live. Um,
Okay.
this was the show to watch when I was a kid growing up, and it's the inspiration for the show that we do today, which we like to call the People's Video or the People's Show. We want to hear from you guys. We want to take your requests. We want to talk about the stocks that you're thinking about and that you're trading, that you're investing in. And that's what we're here to do. So here with my esteemed co-host, as always, Patrick Dunawilla of the Chart Report. How you doing today, buddy?
I'm doing great. Nice little Tuesday.
Just got out of a 1 hour team meeting. Couldn't be happier
I
than
know
to be
you
here
love
with you.
meetings.
I can again talk about charts. So let's go. I want to start with some macro like we normally do. Look, Pat, this is
Yeah.
the exact same chart that we looked at last week. Zoom way in on it. Russell 2000 futures. And we said, hey, there's been a stealth correction beneath the surface since November 14th, really, where we're coiling, we're digesting those gains off of those Halloween lows, right? Shown here.
Halloween
And
lows. I like that. That's the first time I've heard that.
they were spooky lows. And the way we think about something like this is okay, if this coil, because the Russell 2000 does such a good job of illustrating what most stocks are doing, right? So if most stocks are resolving this coil higher, what are the best stocks doing? Probably continuing higher. We got it. This was Friday. Big resolution, monster candle. Some of the candlesticks from Friday really stood out. Incredibly bullish. We have a special name for them. We don't have to share it on air, right? But really, big moves Friday, follow through Monday, and then we're just chopping a little bit here today. But the leaders continue to lead. Tech is up nicely here today. You've heard a lot about, oh, these mega cap tech stocks, they're not participating.
The
Earlier
market heard
this
them.
year, it was the mega cap tech stocks are participating too much. Now they're not participating enough. There's always going to be problems for people who want to be bearish. The point is, this is a bull market. Participation is expanding. More and more groups are participating to the upside, and there are a lot of bullish opportunities to participate in. So, with that as our backdrop, give me the goods here. What's first?
Let's kick it off with Big Blue IBM as a long-term hold too. So maybe start off with at least a weekly, maybe even a monthly.
So, actually, you know what we'll start with? Full disclaimer. This
There
is
you go.
IBM
I like this.
versus the overall market, right? Because
And
you
that
always
really
want
is where you should start on something, on a long-term hold.
especially one of these, and yeah, if you're asking for the long term, here's the problem with IBM, or here's what's been the problem for more than 10 years now. This is 2011, this peak here, straight lower versus the broader market. But look at this. It's a number of different ways. You could draw trend lines. Not the biggest fan of that. I would focus more on the long-term moving average, which has been steadily lower for more than 10 years now. Starting
Is
to
that a 200
a little
week?
bit. If we were to flip this to a daily, Pat, looks a lot better.
Oh yeah.
You have some semblance of a base here on relative terms. I think that's really big for a stock like IBM, right? Because for the longest time, we've looked at this one and said, you can't touch it. It's such a laggard, right? That's changing. At the same time, flip it to the absolute chart.
Hey now.
Oh, look, I already had this marked up because we were all over this one. We've been talking about it. So I measured the move out 14%. I think we were talking about an options trade on it. Here's the base, right? This goes all the way back to 2018. Monster base here and a really pronounced breakout. Let's flip it to the candles. Like big moves. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 straight up weeks.
7 weeks in a row, huh?
Yeah. The place to be buying this was more like 150, 152 range, right? At these pre-pandemic highs. But I think there's a lot more to do here if you zoom out enough. If we're going to get back to those old highs, 200, we're at 160 today. That's another 25% move. But the bigger point is, if a base like this is to resolve, you're probably going a lot higher than those old highs, right?
Yeah. So I got another one from the mailbag here. This one, this one is from our friend Wavy, Arco, ARCO.
And I will say, you have the 62% fib coming in on IBM around 160. Play it to 206. Next stop 280. What's that? RC what?
ARCO. Arco Dorados Holdings.
Probably a big base.
So
yeah, Wavy loves his bases.
So they operate McDonald's restaurants? Interesting.
Oh yeah, I know this one. I know this one well.
You know, I thought it sounded to me like an energy stock. Isn't there like an Arco's gas stations or something?
I think it's a franchisee, right?
So they're a McDonald's franchisee then?
2.5 billion. I believe so.
Either way.
Yeah. Outside of the US. Brazil, Caribbean, Latin America, Colombia, French Guiana. I don't even know what some of these places are. Yeah. Listen, the point is this base is in. This base is more than in. So got these 2018 highs here with authority. I would draw. For me, that's the level. 2018 highs. So important. Probably getting confirmation here on this 38% retrace of the highs. I mean, this one IPO'd back in 2011 and went straight lower for about 5 years.
Yeah, and you know that level also, if you draw it further, you got those lows from 2000, what is it, 13? So definitely a crucial level there. What is that?
Yeah. So that comes in right around 1050. Probably getting confirmation out here today around 1250. Trading at like 12 and a quarter today. Next stop 1870, and then it's really those old highs. But beautiful base. Let's just draw it real quick. Yeah, we love buying big bases. You want to be patient with them, right? They don't resolve higher or leg up overnight. But over time, these are the best patterns to buy for investors with the longest time frames. So
yeah, and you're good at identifying those bases kind of before they complete and go back to all-time highs. You know, even if it's kind of still under that 38.2 retrace, you'd still call that a base, right?
Yeah. I don't rely so much on the Fibonacci retracement levels to tell me when a base is complete as I do on long-term moving averages and key points of interest, right? So for this one, for me, it's these 2017 highs around 1050. It's complete above there.
So this one, I got a good one for you. You ready for it?
Yeah.
CYBR, CyberArk Software.
Yep.
And this one comes from
this is Israel
mailbag. We got a few more to get through in the mailbag, so we'll try to hustle through those because I want to get to the chat.
Isn't this an Israel name? Yeah.
Is it?
Yep. A lot of good tech stocks coming out of Israel. for a long time now.
Yeah, I think they're big into what is it? Cybersecurity.
Yep. All security.
Yeah.
So fib this one out. You get some kind of level here. I wouldn't pay so much attention to that. I would measure this move out. The point here for cyber, we can make this more clear with a relative chart. It's been a leader, right, since IPOing, but then consolidating for several years now. I think that leadership is ready to resume, right? This is cyber versus the S&P. You could draw this in a number of ways, right? Got some sort of like big monster base here. I think this one's ready to show leadership again. Drill back to the absolute price chart. Here's how you draw it. $200.
That's a
100.
perfect clean base. Textbook.
I'm going to measure this base 100. So you got the lows from early 2022, 100 to 200. Tack that on to the top. Price target 300. This is a secular leader, though.
I like it. I like it. So next one we got here. 1 second. Let me just.
No crypto requests? Are there any crypto?
So we do actually. Trickwood in the chat here wants to see Bitcoin, or he just mentioned it there. So why don't you just break that one down real quick, and keep it quick because we do have a ton to get to.
Bitcoin is moonshotting right now. So let's just go all the way out. This is a weekly chart of Bitcoin. Look at where this base started forming, these prior cycle highs. Bitcoin has a knack for holding their prior cycle highs. Then we had a big level here that we've talked about for years now at 30,000. We said, okay, this base completes at 30,000. Markets are fractal. So I'm zooming way out, showing you a big level. Then I'm zooming way in and showing you this beautiful base. I'm going to drill into a daily. Look at that nice base. Let's get this rectangle out of the way at those prior cycle highs. Base is complete right here around 30. You could have even argued that this base completed at 25 for some people. I've started, getting very long against 25 all year. Now look at us. We're at 43 and change. It just keeps ripping, keeps showing leadership too. More importantly.
Yeah, I saw it with a 42 handle yesterday and I couldn't believe it. Here we are at 43, almost 44. I mean, it just has been resilient. Every time I think it's going to correct too, it just corrects sideways, right? In a real tight range. You don't get this like sharp kind of correction.
With these beautiful reversal patterns in long-term leaders, which Bitcoin is, chart it against anything and zoom way, way out. It is the leader among any asset class.
Yeah, I can't think of anything else that would have over the last 5-10 years. Like what else is there that would have?
Over the course of my career, there's been no better asset than Bitcoin, right? So it's a leadership asset. When you drill in on it, the base is complete, the reversal is in, however you want to say this. I could draw fib levels here and give you spots along the way. But I think really that's a mistake at this point in what has been a very well advertised new bull market that's underway. All-time highs is what you want.
You say well advertised and the crowd is definitely starting to notice, but it still doesn't feel like, you're not seeing the Tom Brady's of the world with the laser eyes yet and Elon Musk on SNL talking about Dogecoin, things like that. So it's like they're taking note, but it's still like that disbelief phase. You know what I mean?
Which is great for the rest of us, right? Because Bitcoin at this rate is probably back at those old all-time highs first quarter of next year.
Yeah.
And then from there, who knows where it goes, right? So the fact that, like you're saying, sentiment is still pretty ripe from a bullish perspective, right? You don't want everybody talking about the stuff that you're in. That's never a good sign, right? We eventually get there, And that's when you'll know that you're in the later innings or the later stages of this bull run. For now, you want to buy this thing hands over fist on any weakness.
I like it. So let's get back to some of them in the mailbag, and then I promise we'll get to a few of them in the chat. But let's do Enphase real quick.
Garbage.
Garbage. Looks like it might pull a little failed breakdown, though. What do you think? Or does it just get rejected?
Listen, I hate to do this, but I'm going to do this, Pat. These stocks can't survive in a high interest rate world. And I'll tell you why. Because they're not viable businesses. They're good ideas. They're fun ideas. They fall into that ESG category, so they'll get flows. There was a concerted effort on Wall Street over the past several years to create liquidity or put a bid in these environmentally friendly names. Doesn't mean that they're good companies just because they've been good stocks, right? Good companies don't need government subsidies and government help and low interest rates so that they could constantly raise money at low rates because they can't break even in their business, right? That doesn't make it a good company, but it's been a good stock. Look, I'll zoom out. Look, it's been a good stock from 2017 straight into 2021. It was a good stock for 4 years. Now,
and this is what, a solar name then?
Yeah.
Semis.
One of the bigger solar stocks. Look, this is a big top. If you get back above 115, could you make an argument for some sort of a squeeze? Yes. Problem is, I'm going to put my fundamental hat on. Not a viable business, at least not yet. The world is not ready as much as the solar industry is ready for the world to be ready for it. Okay. Also, it really looks like, and these are political stocks, and unfortunately, you have to think politically with stocks like this. If the election next year turns out to be what Las Vegas or any of the polls think the election is going to look like, these guys aren't getting any more money. And they need it. They need the government. So this is a political stock. It is a low interest rate stock. It is a highly speculative stock. It's not a good business. I don't like it one bit.
But what are you going to do if that reclaims? What is that, 115 there, the neckline there?
You see shitty businesses. You see the stocks of shitty businesses go higher all the time. It doesn't mean that there'll be good investments over the long term.
That's fair. So let's move on to HWM. Howmet Aerospace. Aerospace and defense is
This is good.
It's been working lately, but these ETFs like ITA and XAR, I think is the other one. Yeah, they've been taking a while. Seems like they've been there forever, right?
Monster base. I like where this one's come from. Looking good. I think you drill in and you use these year-to-date highs from the summer. Call it, low 50s. $51 and change. You'll play it above there, but really this one's kind of in the middle of the range, right? You got the big base breakout, first target hit, and now it's in between the 161 and the 261. So you got to find some sort of, level of interest to play it against. I think it's got to be those year-to-date highs. We just broke out above them. Not the best momentum accompanying this. Really waning here, stocks at new highs while momentum is kind of rolling over just earlier this week. But it looks okay. I'd be patient with this one. Give it some time to digest these gains. It's made a lot of gains just since October.
I like that one. And that was actually one that showed up on some of our work a couple weeks ago. But let's move on to XPO.
XPO Logistics. Look, the transports, the industrials, really waking up. These are groups that I think you want to look to for rotation and new leadership into the next year. I would just fib this out right here. Look at the momentum regime all year, right?
And
Uh,
this is logistics, right? Like they're like
yeah,
they do a lot with Amazon, right?
yeah, they help deliver things and know where they're going. Yep.
Kind of like a UPS, but less customer facing, right?
I
Or
don't know how much like a company like XPO is actually involved in the delivering as much as it's involved with figuring out where things need to be delivered.
interesting.
So again, right in the middle of this range, you either want to buy weakness back towards the 70s, and I think you could beef this up a little bit like this. So weakness back towards that shelf of old highs, which comes in right around 77.50, or get it on strength above 100. That $100 roll is so important. What a big psychological level. If we get 100, I think it's only a matter of time before we get just about 150. So weakness to the 70s or strength above 100.
Well, we got so many good ones in the chat. I wish we could get to all of them here. So I'll do my best here, but let's look at stock market. Mike wanted us to look at cyber at CYBR.
Where I looked at, dude.
We already looked at one. Oh yes, shoot. Yeah, my bad. Mara.
Huh.
And I mean, yeah, go ahead.
All of our customers and friends who didn't take our advice and just buy Coinbase are now hoping that the Bitcoin miners can make a move similar to Coinbase. Look, we got a lot of smart friends out there who've been pounding the table on Bitcoin miners. Sometimes, we try and do too much as analysts or market people. It's cool to have a unique idea, a different perspective, pick the one that other people aren't talking about. But this was easy. This was easy, right? Coinbase was the obvious vehicle of choice for this new bull market in crypto. I think you were probably being cute or trying to overcomplicate things to create some sort of bullish thesis around these miners. I worry about the cap tables here. I really do. These are companies, Pat, we talk about the biotechs or some of these other stocks that constantly need to raise capital. I worry about that for the crypto miners or the Bitcoin miners. I don't worry about something like that for Coinbase. It's actually a viable business.
Are you saying they might do a secondary or something like that? Like
they're always raising money.
Yeah.
These companies. A month or two ago with Riot, you see it all the time. So look, Mara, you got the VWAP recapture here, but you really don't get this completed base until we're back above 1950. I think back down here when Bitcoin and everything else, to be clear, Bitcoin, Solana, everything in crypto was ripping while these miners were still down on the floor here. So big catch-up move since last week, but really haven't participated. I think the place to buy these were on like this VWAP recapture, but that happened like 5 points ago now. At this point, up where we are, back in the middle of this range, maybe buy strength above 19. But I don't know. Look, I'm a technician, so I'm always going to change my mind. Thank God for that. For now, not the vehicle of choice in crypto. Everything else in crypto is working so well. These guys are trying to play some sort of catch up. The economics here are funny. The ownership here or the cap table here is a little funny. I think there are far better assets in the crypto space than the Bitcoin miners.
So we're getting a lot of questions about crypto actually, but let's look at PCAR, PCAR.
All right, back to industrials, which I'd like.
And then we'll end on a couple of the crypto requests here.
Good. Look, secular leader, right? Pat, flip it to a monthly.
A trucking one, so kind of goes with that XPO logistics one, right?
Yeah. So we'll flip it to a monthly just to make that overwhelmingly obvious. Now back to a daily. Where do we get involved in a chart that just doesn't stop going up like this one? This reminds me almost of like Old Dominion,
Yeah, some of the best trends can sometimes make the hardest trades because like it's like when do you get
always
them, right? Yeah.
The the best bull markets or the best uptrends are the toughest to get into.
Right.
So PCAR making a really good example of that. If you just fib this thing out from 2021, some stocks, growth stocks, fell 80, 90% from 2021. PCAR could barely notice it, right?
That's a good point. Yeah.
So really resilient corrective or bear market action over the past several years. And now launching off of this little base here. Boom, boom. Nice base. And we got the 261 right here. So 95. I think you want to be patient though, right? If you really zoom in on this one, you could do something like this. Boom. Boom. So you did have a consolidation since the summer, but stocks like this that are secular leaders tend to correct in the most resilient way, right? So while a lot of stocks from July until October moved lower, right, in a way like this, you got PCAR, which really just went sideways, right? Look at this, just draw, boom, and now is ripping higher out of that. I don't think you need to rush into it, but above 95, the prospects for this one going higher look really good. Next stop, 122.
I love it. It always amazes me when you pull up a long-term chart like that, you fib it out, and you see those levels coming into play like that. I can't explain it, but it's something. So let's move on to the cryptos. We'll end it with those. I wish we had longer. We probably will next week, but or on Thursday. But somebody asked about Solana. I know you've been watching that one closely, but probably been trading it. Have you been trading it?
Yeah, trading it. I'm
buying, just owning it,
buying the shit out of it. I got into Solana very early on last cycle and held on to it very late. And it was a big mistake, one that I'm happy to talk about and have discussed publicly plenty. But I think learned my lesson, not going to do that again, but I think, done a masterful job at costing down back into it as this reversal has been playing out. So for me, this reversal, look, you could draw it like this. You could draw it like,
well, that's
this.
Didn't even see it that way.
You could draw it like this. The point is, it's really about this. This is your 200-day moving average. It went from an environment where it was steadily sloping lower to then sideways, and now it's sloping higher again. So the reversal's in. For a chart or a setup like this, you're just looking for a responsible entry, right? So you would just want to draw this coil, right? Because we're clearly getting this reversal pattern breakout, and now you have this little coil here.
And isn't that kind of amazing? We could say that Solana's in a stage 2 uptrend.
It is. Totally.
Yeah, and think about it this time last year, Steve, like how hated crypto was. I mean, you already had the bear market, and then you had all the stuff with SBF. It was just like,
we've been talking about it. We've been monitoring the sentiment the whole way. Things got so washed out. This was the Sam Bankman-Fried getting locked up, FTX blowing up week right here, right, where you eventually got to the cycle lows for something like Solana, and the rest of the crypto space was the same way. But if you zoomed way out on these charts, they still actually looked okay. So a lot of people kind of threw in the towel and forgot about crypto, which I think is making crypto that much more attractive for the rest of us who didn't forget about it. So now the reversal is in. It just becomes a situation of, where do we get long responsibly? Here, you want to buy the breakout of this coil. And you can do this in a number of different ways. I've dropped a anchored VWAP from the November 15 high. We've recaptured it for somebody who really, really wants to jump this coil. I think you get confirmation above these pivot highs at about 65, 75, maybe 66, right? But after that, in terms of price targets, I really think, I feel very strongly about this, that any trader or investor is selling themselves short to take profits along the way. If the reversal is in for one of these speculative tech assets,
like it reclaimed broke its inception lows, like new all-time lows, and you're saying the fact that it reclaimed that's a massive reversal. It's
You
time
see
that
this?
something's there.
You see this big blue line that's anchored from the 2021 peak? That's
It's
the VWAP. That's the volume weighted average price. It tells you that anybody who bought this currency or coin since the all-time highs in 2021 is now back in the black or back in the green. They're making money on this investment. This is now a bull market asset, right? Where most people who buy it are actually making money on it. The reversal is in, the path of least resistance is higher. This is not Procter and Gamble. We're not looking at a chart of Johnson and Johnson or Coca-Cola here. Okay? We're not hoping for a 10%, 20% move at best in a year.
You're looking to 10x.
And there's a new bull market in crypto. Altcoins go 5, 10, 20, 100x.
Yeah, and I didn't mean to interrupt you there, but Howard made a great point once. Like during crypto bull markets, money goes into these wallets, right? And it just kind of stays there. People make a bad decision, they get washed, they don't want to check their account for months.
He's so right.
And then all of a sudden it starts to make the comeback that you're starting to see, and they check their app one day and they're like, oh, look at that. And that gets the animal spirits going again. And then it's just rinse and repeat. The greed then peaks, and then you have that same cycle again.
I bought Solana at 25 in 2021. I rode it to 250. It was great. I was very happy, but we were making money on everything else also at the time. I went to crypto conferences. I talked to our smartest friends, guys who run crypto hedge funds. They said, oh my God, Solana is so good. Hold it forever. I said, oh boy, you're right.
Oh boy, you're right.
Yeah. The bull market ended for crypto. This thing crashed and burned and fell to 750, where I went from being 10x up to way underwater.
Oof.
I started buying more as this base was forming, right? And it's simply because I knew crypto was not dead. It was not going away. I have plenty of friends who work in the space and spend their day to day doing crypto things, altcoin things, right? Space is doing just fine. Look at the stock like Coinbase, anything. People, like you said, are still involved and interested in this asset class. Now the reversal is in. This is the exact time to get aggressive. If you get involved in Solana here, look, we just cleared this level at 50. Now we're flagging above it. You can get it here at about $60. 5x back to those old highs. We sit around, we talk about Bitcoin going back not just to 60,000, but probably to 100. Where's Solana in an environment where Bitcoin is at 100,000? 500, 800, 1,000?
Yeah. I mean, listen, I might actually go out and buy some Solana after this. This looks like a really
the price target is not a spot along the way, right? Expand
your thesis is very Wyckofffian, by the way.
Yeah, well,
in terms of sentiment, the accumulation bottom, all that,
Wyckoffian analysis is some of my favorite in the world of TA. I think they did maybe a better job than anybody at figuring out the stages of trend, right? From up to sideways to down to sideways back to up, right? And this is a classic Wyckoff accumulation pattern, like you said. I spent plenty of time down here basing. Now you're getting that monster reversal. For now, it just becomes a matter of where do we enter responsibly, like I continue to say, and then don't sell yourself short. Don't take profits here at the 38 or the 62%. If you really believe this is a new bull market for stocks and a new bull market for risk assets, and Bitcoin's going back to its old all-time highs, Solana easily gets back to 250, I think.
You're saying don't get cute with it. Don't try to, try to game it, try to trade the trend, just own the trend.
Expand your time horizon. If you're used to trading on shorter term time frames, understand and get comfortable with the fact that it's just the same process lengthened, right? Yeah. So I think, you enter this one on some sort of continuation pattern breakout, which is probably happening like in the coming days, and then you want to play it back to those old highs.
That was a great breakdown there. So I'm really glad we looked at that one. But I mean, we got to wrap it up. We already are running a little bit over, but let's look at Bitcoin and Ethereum before we go. Somebody requested that, and I think that's
We did Bitcoin. I'll do Ethereum.
Bitcoin versus Ethereum. But yeah.
Oh, BTC ETH. Yeah. Look,
because that one,
weird one.
There's a lot of information to be gained from that.
Look, it's been all about Bitcoin. It really has. Bitcoin's been killing it. Hold on. What's this? Okay. That's it. That's it. They weren't giving me they weren't giving me the whole picture there.
You were like, wait, what the heck?
Yeah, I said, I don't know about this. All right, so this is Bitcoin relative to ETH. Look, it's been all about ETH. The whole, prior cycle. This is right around where crypto's topped out. Right? So what that tells you is during the last bull market period, Ethereum steadily and consistently outperformed Bitcoin in a really big way. And it wasn't until that bull market for crypto ended that we started to see outperformance from Bitcoin. And now a lot of people will tell you that if ETH is not outperforming Bitcoin, it can't really be a true new bull market for crypto. Wrong. They're wrong. They're so
interesting.
Wrong. Yeah.
I like it. Doing some myth busting here.
To try and pick the winners in an asset class that's been around for 10 years right now, to try and say this is the long-term winner, crazy. You just don't know that, right?
Yeah.
There are no dividend aristocrats in the crypto asset class by definition, right? So I think all we can do is pay attention to these relative trends, try to be in the best ones. For now, Bitcoin continues to outperform in a huge way. Pat, I own a lot of Ethereum. And I'm very frustrated about it. I wish it was all Bitcoin, right? Because I've been doing this, I've been accumulating all year, and Bitcoin just keeps outperforming. We've been taught that the riskier stuff should outperform in a new uptrend phase or a new bull market, right? And the riskier stuff in the crypto asset class will be everything that's not Bitcoin.
Right.
You start at Bitcoin, you go to Ethereum, you go to Solana, and then everything after that is riskier and riskier. So the way we've been taught, you should get more beta as you move further out on the risk spectrum. Does it have to work that way? Could we have a bull market where, God forbid, Apple outperforms everything or Bitcoin outperforms everything? Yeah, we could. It's not likely. It's not what we usually see when we look back. We have lots and lots of years of history with the stock market. We don't have that much history with crypto, but we've seen it before. 2020, 2021, you wanted to be in anything but Bitcoin. The Doge, the Shiba, the Sweet Love Potion, anything.
But if you were in Bitcoin, you would have done pretty well still.
You still do well. And that's a good point. So I guess it becomes a situation of, you have to monitor it. You have to monitor it closely. And I don't think you want to get too cute, right? Because what does end up happening is that when the bull market ends, the really risky stuff, if you go too far out on the spectrum, it gets absolutely destroyed, right? That's the stuff that crashes 80, 90, whatever, 100%. Bitcoin or Ethereum should be more resilient. So in terms of Bitcoin versus Ethereum, look, if you're bullish crypto, you own a lot of both. That's it. These are the two big boys. They're the two bellwethers. I think if you have a very bullish long-term outlook on crypto, it's irresponsible to not own a good amount of both of them. And then if you really want that beta and you want that juice and you want some leveraged vehicles, you just go out and down the cap scale and you go into more and more alts, and you could use the charts to kind of direct you what to do. For now, look at this base in Bitcoin versus Ethereum. Can it fail here? Sure. I think it might. I think it's actually kind of likely to fail here.
And if it fails, that means Ethereum's outperforming.
If this base fails, right, and you see this line start to move down and to the right, you want to be in Ethereum. Problem is, there's no indication of that happening yet. If I were a betting man, gun to my head, this is a new raging bull market for crypto, I'd say, yeah, Ethereum is probably outperforming. But for now, this looks like a beautiful base. These are the bases that we've been buying.
Right.
So I don't know.
We got to come up with a name for those bases, the Straza bases, because you know what I'm talking about when they're just starting to kind of form.
Dude, textbook bases. This was the best advertised bottom in the history of the stock market, in my opinion. These rounding bottom reversals. I mean, if you weren't bullish this year as these bases started completing, you're obviously not a technician.
Yeah. Well, listen, we should probably leave it here for the day, but you and I are going to be doing this again on Thursday. So if we didn't get to the tickers in your chat, which I know we didn't get to a ton of them, we'll try to get to them Thursday. Give us a reminder then. You can always email us the requests at questions@stockmarketmedia.com. My name is Patrick Denawilla. Steve, any last words?
Buy the cryptos. Buy the best looking charts with the best risk reward setups in crypto right now. These bases, like this one in Bitcoin, Ethereum, they're just now completing, telling us that a brand new, fresh bull market is underway. Early innings kind of stuff. Right now is the time to be aggressive. I'm waking up in the middle of the night, putting orders in, and I couldn't feel better about it. So I think, 2023 and 2024, probably even more so, is a year for the cryptos. So let's go.
I like it. Very good. All right. Well, thank you guys for watching. We'll see you on Thursday.
Thanks, everybody. Bossy, bossy, bossy,